Hello everybody, it's Joe being videos on the Jimmy Master Electronics, and this is a review of my 2010 Demonica. I brought her back from the storage unit, however, she's just going to go back. I just wanted to bring her home to test her. I know she doesn't always work. Her motor, I'm sure, is bad. It's just I can't find a good motor that would work for her, and I think she's doesn't have even the right resistors on her motor either, because sometimes she'll go up, sometimes she'll do her activation just fine, but other times she'll just stop trying to rise and I have to pull her up and have her reset multiple times before she will even start to work. And sometimes she'll stop moving up and down in the middle of her activation. She'll just go all the way down and continue to turn her head, and the next time she activates she won't move at all, because like I said, her head will not move if she doesn't rise all the way up. She has to hit her relay switches for the head motion to work. Although I've seen some 2010 Demonicas that actually do move their heads without the... See, like right now, see how it... yeah. And I have to kind of be physical with her to get her to work. And the thing is, the motor's not even trying to bring her up. So I don't think it's a board issue. I think it might be a resistor issue, because this base is actually from my old original 2010 Demonica, which never did this. It actually used to get my old Demonica. They all pretty much had the same issue. They started to get slow when they were rising up, and these are the models that have the cable on the back. They don't have a motor or mechanism to lift their head up. When they're fully risen, they have a cable, and when they're fully up, the cable is pulled and it pulls her head up. And that puts too much pressure on the motor. That kills the motor. It actually kills the motor. After about 5 activations in a row, they already slow down and stop, and then they'll just sit there not moving at all. Because like I said, she can't rise all the way up, so she won't hit her relay switch, so she doesn't start to move then. And that's the problem. And actually, I had a total of 3 2010 Demonicas. The first one I had to return right away because it stopped working in a few days. It got slow right away. And then the second one, it lasted a while. It actually lasted until 2011, like June of 2011. And then I got this one off eBay in 2013, and I've had non-stop issues with this ever since. With just that problem, nothing else. Her base did the same thing. The seller that had her even redid her wire harnesses. They were actually professional, but I took those off because I thought maybe it was the base causing it, or the board. But this base is doing the same thing, so I know it's not the board. It's definitely the resistors, because I remember even with her old motor or old resistors, she wouldn't even work until I cut some of the resistors off. Some of the resistors that I had to cut off. And then she worked for a while, but she stopped again. And I think her motor is weak too, because she works most of the time if I don't connect the cable. She stopped working. For a while she was starting to kind of work with the cable, but not really. I would have to help her and push her head up every time when her cable was connected. So I could never use this one with the cable. And it seemed like that's what messed it up, because if I didn't use the cable with her for a long time, she started working just fine. But as soon as because the motor sometimes was slow, then it was sometimes fast, and I was like, hey, maybe it's fast enough to work with the cable now. So I attached it and it worked a little bit, but it stopped again. I don't know. Like I said, this cable, the motor, the fact that the head has to pull up on the motor, or the fact that the cable pulls the head when the motor's in the rising mech, it's just too much pressure. It's not a good design for it, and that's really what makes this as faulty as it is. If it wasn't for that cable, it wouldn't be this faulty. That it's the cable, and you would think that it wouldn't make it that faulty, but it really does. The head is just too heavy to tilt up that many times for, like the motor's trying to rise the body. It's not intended to do both. And that's why when they made the remake one, they added that gearbox in there that lifts it up. But the remake one wasn't as good because it doesn't move as much as this one. This one goes up and down 3 times and turns her head the whole activation if the relay switch is hit. The other Demonica only goes up and down 2 times, and she barely turns her head at all. So, and there's very different detail in them. And unfortunately, from sitting in the storage unit for a while, cold and hot temperatures, she's deteriorated a bit around the neck cloth area, which is not good at all, because this is like one of the coolest parts of her. And sometimes the cloth does get stuck in between the neck, so it won't turn right. So yeah, like I said, I don't know. She just worked before I started this review, and I'll show you what I have to do to get her to work. See, she's not going to work if I don't physically move her. That's the problem. See? She'll just, and like I said, she won't move at all unless her relay switch is hit. But I have to, like I said, I have to pull her up like that and have her reset. I have to put literally my fingers right where the module is, or the rising mech. And when she goes back down or tries to reset, which now she's not even doing that, see, the wire came off, so. But what I would have to do is I'd have to keep resetting her, and she would retract back down. Oops. She would retract back down, but she wouldn't rise back up. And I would have to keep resetting her and keep letting her retract until she finally tries to rise. Because, like I said, I'm sure it's a resistor issue here. Because this has done that ever since I've gotten this off eBay 2013. I haven't been able to use it much because of this issue. And there is a wire off the motor, so I have to solder that back on. So, actually, there's really no resistors on the motor at all, so that probably is the problem. There's just that one resistor, but that's not enough for it. There's supposed to be more resistors on there than that, so that's probably why. And I need to do a better job with I need to heat shrink these up, so I'm going to quickly do that. Okay, so I guess I'll try to show me doing this here. It'll help you guys maybe learn how to solder or something, I don't know. But I'll show you how to do the heat shrink though, because some of you might not know how to do that. I recently just learned about that from Ivan, so I never used to know how to heat shrink before. But it really helps, it really does. See, like, these right here, oh yeah, that's already soldered. It's not on very good, I don't think, but good enough for now. Like, so, okay, so you see these here? These really need to be heat shrinked. And I'll try to show you how. I'll try to set my camera down, but there we go. Where's my solder? Okay. So, yeah, add solder to those. See, these wires aren't even soldered, they're just twisted together. Yeah, the harness is not attached to this anymore. I don't know. Those harnesses are junk. Once they break off, I don't want to even deal with trying to get the wires back into the harnesses. It's just not even worth your time. And doing this is what makes them undisassemblable, because you can't take them apart once you do this, because it'll be all in one piece now, because the wires won't come off. I mean, you would have to rip the wires off in that case. Oh, damn. Yeah, jeez. These wires are in really bad condition, too. Those aren't even soldered either. Those are the relay switch wires. The red and black ones are the relay switch wires, and the blue and green are the motor. Actually, one of the blue and greens are yeah. One is for the motor, and then the others are for the LEDs. There's some out for the LEDs somewhere. I know this was supposed to be just a review, but I hope you guys don't mind that I turned this into it's not really even a repair, because it's not going to work any better than what it did. It really won't. But still, this gives you an idea of how to repair your items, I guess, when it's just wires. Okay, so now we're gonna try to do the heat shrink. See, I have a lot of different sizes, but the ones like thin ones like this will be good enough. And we'll just do one at a time. Just gotta put the tubing, cut it a little, and put it over the wires that are exposed. And what you have to do is you have to get a lighter. You'll probably need, if most of you are probably kids watching this, so you'll probably have to do this with adult. Have an adult do this for you. But yeah, when it melts together, and this rubber stays on. It doesn't come off. So if these wires all touched each other without this tubing, it could really cause it to fry or start smoking or something like that. It will create a lot of problems. So you want it when you want to cover it with heat shrink like that. Trust me, I've learned that lesson. There's been many times where I've had that happen. That's why both of my 2011 Demonicas, their eyes fried, because those wires touched. That's why my 2011 Rosemary's eyes stay lit up at all times until you unplug it or take the batteries out, because those wires touched. That ruins them if you don't cover them, because they will touch. So like every week I'll probably be bringing some props from the storage unit to try to fix. I'm sure most of my props are probably not fixable, because most of them are going to have a broken square shaft gear, and I don't have any of those, so I don't know where I can get any. So I don't know how I'm going to fix those really. Some of them break more even trying to fix them. Like you break other parts trying to get into them. That their plastic is just not good. Okay, well that's how you do that, and we'll get back to see if it works now. Another thing about the 2010 Demonica is that when you get her box is half the size of the remake Demonica, because she is fully disassemblable. Her head comes off, her rising module comes off the base. Those parts that hold the rising mechanism come off. Her head twists to lock into place. But the remake Demonica, all this is pre-assembled and screwed, and you can't even really take it off without breaking it off, really. The only thing you have to assemble on the new ones is the head part and the arms. These go into the base, but you don't have to if you don't want to. It helps support it better. It helps it from falling over like outside. But the 2010 Demonica has more sandbags in it than the remake one. There's sandbags inside of her base that hold her up. Probably still doesn't work. Okay, there we go. And she's working now, so it might have been that wire off, but like I said, it does stop sometimes. See, now she's having more issues now. Because for some reason now, her relay switch was not hit, and that's why her head was not moving. Like I said, it will not work unless the relay switch is hit. And that's the problem with the, like, I wouldn't even mind if it didn't go up and down. Just the head moving is what makes it so cool, and like the fact that it has to rise for the head to move is what really makes this so faulty. And the 2011 Demonic, it doesn't have to hit the relay switches to make it move. It'll do everything without the relay switches working. It just, the motors will keep trying to run is all. Whereas this one, like I said, big disaster here. Okay, she should be good now, but I won't be surprised if she fails again. Yep, see, that's what I mean. She stops. See, all this stuff you're seeing are the problems I've been having with her since I got her off eBay. This is why I have not been able to get her to work properly. There's so many things going on. Either it's always usually it's the relay switch, sometimes it's the motor, sometimes it's a resistor. It's so many things, I think, that's messed up on this. See, and now I can show you what I mean, because now she's not going to move unless I force and get physical with her, like I said. She'll just sit there. She'll never start moving on her own again if I don't get physical with her. Like I said, I have to pull her up, let her reset, and see, then she starts going. But she will stop again. Either during the activation or the next activation, she won't work again. See, just so many problems. Even the relay switch on these models are very, very faulty. They used very poor relay. Like, they actually updated the relay switches on the next year's model. They really did. Let's try it again. She does also have a timer. She will go off every minute and 30 seconds. And like every Tekky prop that has had a timer, I disabled the sound sensor on them, because if they go off over and over again, especially her, she's the main one, she will, like I said, after like 3-5 activations in a row, her motor is already dying down. You don't want her to go that many times in a row. Every time she stops, if she goes right away again, it's just her motor gets hot and warm, and that's bad for the board and everything else. So that's why I disabled the sound sensor on these timer ones, so that they go off when they're supposed to go off, every minute and 30 seconds. It gives it enough time to cool off, then it won't slow down as quickly. It gives it enough time for the motor to cool off and all that stuff. So that's why I always disabled the sound sensors on these timer ones. And that's why I got upset when Tekky stopped doing timer modes on their props. I just don't understand why Tekky couldn't have put that on a different setting, you know? I don't know why they would combine the timer and the sound sensor together. It doesn't make sense to me. There she goes. Some of them, their heads don't move this much either. And she stopped again, see? Yeah, like I said, I can't figure out what her issues are. I just think it's got to be a resistor. The motor just probably does not have enough resistors. Like I said, the next activation she goes off, she won't even work. She won't move at all. I have to do that physical thing again. You know, eventually that's gonna make her break. But like I said, she's not gonna move unless I do that. I have to. See, like, again, I'll restart her and see. Well, okay. But sometimes she doesn't. 99% of the time she will not move on her own. And this is my favorite 2010 prop. It's still my thumbnail on my channel. I've always just been fascinated with this prop. Even though it's so faulty, it's so animated and cool when they work. Like, it's just amazing. Amazing detail from head to bottom. And there is some foam and a bendable wire in her arm as well. We'll try to wait for her timer to go off, but I'm guarantee she's not going to move probably again, but like you said, she might. There's a 50-50 chance, but with her, it's more of a 90% chance that she's not going to move. So, yeah. I'm sorry this is kind of a faulty review in some way, but I can't. I have no control of that. Like, I don't have the equipment or knowledge to fix what's going on right now. I don't know really what's going on. I know like it's probably a resistor, but I don't know what kind of resistors she needs on that motor to make her not do that. Plus her motor is still dying. If I connected her head wire, she would not have enough strength to lift it up, and I'm pretty sure I don't have a motor as powerful as she needs it to be, because this prop needs a powerful motor. And again, going up and down 3 times per activation, and if it's constantly going, it's just too much for her. It should, and that, I think that's why they limited the movement on the remake model, because again, this wears it down so fast, whereas the 2011 one, it barely moves at all, really. It's really slowed down and better built and better programmed so that it wasn't this faulty. The motor doesn't get as hot on that one as this one does. I don't know, for some reason the store display at our store, it didn't go up and down the whole season. The first day I went, see, I told you she wasn't going to move. The first day I went, she would rise up, but she wouldn't go back down. And that's the thing, even if she rises up and doesn't go back down, again, she's still not supposed to turn her head unless both relay switches are hit. Both of them have to be hit. But for some reason, because there's a relay switch when she goes back down too, to stop the motor from running. And that's what actually broke on my old 2010 Demonica, and that's what really killed it. But the one at our store, it turned his head even though the body didn't go up and down. It stopped trying to go up completely, and somehow the head, and I don't know how they still turn. Because like I said, all 3 of the ones I've had, they would not turn their heads unless they went all the way up. And for some reason, that one at the store display at our store, it was moving its head even though it wasn't rising. And I don't know how. I don't know if they rigged it or if it's. I don't know how. Like I said, I got to do that again to her. Yeah, there she stopped again. See, I guarantee it's both the motor and the... Neither of the two have been very functional on this. Her hair on them are normally adjustable, but the more hair they have, the less adjustable they are, really, I think. Because some of them, they don't have as much hair. My first one did not have this much hair. Its hair was always behind its back. My second one was always usually in front of its face, so... This one's not even really... Yeah, I can't even do that with this one. Her hair is so messed up, though, already. It's not smooth, and, like, it's... After a while, that's how the hair on these props get. I don't know what looks better, though. In front of her face or behind her head. You know. Yep, see? Once again. And that's why I can't use her, because she just won't... You literally have to sit there and, like, she's just, yeah, she needs a lot of work. And I know there's been a lot of these on eBay for the past 3 years since I've got her, but I just have not had the money to buy those, because they're so expensive now. They always want $200, $300, $400, $500, $600 for these, you know. Oh yeah, the 2010 models also did not come with an adapter, which was even worse, because using these with batteries, I feel like, yeah, because these had to have fresh batteries to work correctly too. If the batteries were getting a little low, they wouldn't work as well. But most of the time, I used good batteries, and they still weren't good enough. So Like, it would have been better if these would have came with an adapter too. That way you would actually know if it's the motor dying or something else, you know. Yeah, she's... So yeah, that's Demonica. Lots of nightmares. I think this one, well, Donovan, the one Bailey restored, it didn't have that kind of issue. But most of them actually have this issue. That's the problem. The ones that just sit there and do nothing, and all those videos where their eyes are just lighting up, this has the same issue as all those. This was the most common issue for some reason with these. A lot of them just sat there and did what this does. I don't know if they would move if you forced it like I did, but I don't know. They just had a lot of issues. It's amazing what can go wrong with like 3 mechanical movements. It's just, yeah.